All right, let's talk about how to attach our front to the back now. So I've got the back of the dress here, and I've gone ahead and I've already attached the facing. I did this the exact same way as I attached the front facing. I finished the edge, and then I sewed them right sides together. I understitched the facing, clipped those notches, pressed the facing to the wrong side. So what we need to do now is we're going to actually open out the facings on the front and on the back at the shoulder seams. And you want to match up the seam with the facing seams with each other. And what I like to do is I like to take the seam allowances from one side, point them one direction, take the ones from the other side, point them the other direction. And that kind of helps lock the seam together. And then I do add a pin there to help hold it until I get to stitching it. Same thing on the other side here. I like to make those facings go the opposite ways from each other. And then you just are going to stitch across in one seam from one end all the way across to the facing end. I like to go ahead and do this on the serger so that I am stitching and finishing all in one step. If you don't have a serger, you can go ahead and do this on your sewing machine and then use pinking shears or some other finishing method to finish this seam. Since I am doing this on the serger, I have to be really careful about the pins. When you're sewing with pins near a serger, you have to make sure that you don't sew over the pins because they will break the blade on the serger and bad things will happen. So as soon as your pin starts to get anywhere close to the blade, you want to take it off. So here are my shoulder seams. I'm going to cut off the extra serger thread tails. And then there is my dress attached at the shoulders. The next thing is to go ahead and sew down the side seams. So you want to bring up the point of the arm side and make sure those raw edges are matched up, and then just sew from the point all the way down to the hem. Make sure you catch the pocket in the side seam as well. So you may want to add a couple of pins there, but again, if you're adding pins, be really careful if you go over to do this on the serger. You can also do this on the sewing machine, and then after you've stitched it, you'll add a finish to the seam so that it won't fray. Okay, so here's the side seams are sewn. I'm going to cut off those extra thread tails. And then we're ready to go ahead and finish the armholes with bias tape.